Hi everyone, today we're going to make a Superman Fortress of Solitude cake. It's got a really cool lighting effect, so stay with us because you'll get to see that at the end of the video. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Batman vs. Superman movie. I know it's getting not so great reviews, but if you're a Batman and Superman fan, how can you not go see them duke it out? Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing that next week. Everything that you're going to need to make this cake is in the description box below, so check that out. Let's go ahead and get started. To start the cake, I have a 6-inch 2-layer cake, and we're going to take one of our layers and cut it in half. Now I'm going to attach my cake to a little cake board here, so I'm going to take some buttercream frosting and put on it. Now we're going to take the layer we cut in two and we're going to put it on our cake board, and we are going to leave about a ½ an inch or a little less between the two halves. Now I'm going to fill and stack the 2 layers. Here's the bottom of my cake. It's a 2-layer 10-inch cake, so this would feed a lot of people. I've already stacked it and given it a crumb coat and put it in the freezer for about 15 minutes. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on a thin layer of buttercream just on the top of the cake. Now we're ready to stack our cakes. When we're deciding where to position the top cake, we want to keep in mind that we're going to add lights to this cake, and we need to make room for this battery pack. And I'm going to obviously hide it in the back of the cake, and I want to leave a little extra room to add some decorations around it to kind of hide it a little bit. So I'm going to kind of place that here, make a little mark so I know where I'm going to put it. Another thing to keep in mind is where we split the bottom layer in half, we want the hole to be facing the front of the cake. Leaves room for the battery pack back here and a little room for some camouflage. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to cut some slices out of the top cake, and you can set these aside on a plate and you'll have dessert later. Once we have the slices cut out, we're going to frost the inside of the cake. I put a light layer of frosting on the inside of the cake, and I also put a layer of frosting on the cake board. Now what I did was I cut up a couple of straws actually. Got them from Wendy's. I really wanted ones that didn't have any stripes, just were either clear or plain white, but I couldn't find any, so we're going to hide it with frosting anyway. And we're going to use these as a conduit for the wire of our lighting. So all I'm going to do is place them in the buttercream around the very edge of the cake. We don't need a lot, just a few, just to keep our wire neat and tidy. I've got my straws put on, just a few around the cake, and I also put a couple here because we're going to run the wire through the hole that we created when we cut the lower layer in half. So I'm going to put this in the freezer for about 15 minutes, let the buttercream harden up so that our straws will stay in place. I wanted to take a minute just to show you the lights that we're using for the cake. These are LED lights, so they don't generate a lot of heat, so they're safe for your cake. It has a battery pack that takes 3 AA batteries. It does have a switch. This is long enough that's going to go around the cake twice and into the Fortress of Solitude itself to light it up. You just flip the switch and you get these really nice bright LED lights. I'll put a link to where you can find this on Amazon. We're ready to run our lights. I've decided to put the battery pack here. This is the back of the cake. And all we're going to do is run our wire. You may not be able to see it because it's so thin. through the straws. I'm going to run the lights around the cake twice, and then through the hole in the back of the cake into the area where we're going to build the Fortress of Solitude. Put a layer of buttercream all over the top of the cake. I haven't done the sides, we're saving that for later. And now we're going to add some mountains to the top of our cake using sugar cones. And I'm going to make a taller mountain. I took one of the sugar cones and cut off the bottom, and I'm going to use buttercream to attach another one to the top of it, and so we'll have a nice tall mountain with the other two smaller ones. Here are the mountains on our cake. Now I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for a while and let all the buttercream set up. Now we're ready to build our Fortress of Solitude, and we're going to build it out of the peppermint ice candy that we made in the previous video. There's no real rhyme or reason how to build it. Looking online, the different movies have different versions of the Fortress of Solitude, so it's really up to you what you want it to look like. We're just going to be placing them in the buttercream wherever you want to put them. Here's my completed Fortress of Solitude. After you get all your peppermint candy set where you want, pop it in the fridge to let the buttercream harden so that your ice shards will stay in place. I made the Superman logo for our cake. I just rolled out some yellow fondant and some red fondant, and then I used this cookie cutter set that I found online. I'll put a link to where you can find that on Amazon. Now we're ready to finish up the bottom of our cake. I put a layer of buttercream all the way around the bottom, and first we're going to attach our Superman logo right here in the middle. The last step before we put Superman on top is to add the chocolate ice shards all around the bottom of the cake. I have stored these in the freezer. We want them really hard. And to cut them to size, you figure out how long you want it, and then you can just slice through it with a serrated knife. To attach the chocolate ice shards, we're just going to stick them into the buttercream to hold them on. You want them to stick up a little bit above the top of the cake, and you probably don't want them to be at the exact same level. And here you have our completed Superman Fortress of Solitude cake. Let's take a look at the lighting effect. I think the lighting effect came out absolutely awesome. I have never done anything like this. It really wasn't very difficult. I'm certainly going to do it again for another cake. I hope you think it's as cool as I do. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope you like the lighting effect in the Superman cake. I've got a couple other things I'd like to do, maybe a Frozen cake and a Batman cake, but I don't know if you guys would be interested in seeing that. If you are, leave me a comment in the description, or leave me what you'd like to see us make next. Thanks for watching, we'll see you back soon.